first just wanted to basically show this picture first and foremost, the rings of water and the natural ripple effect that happens from a simple drop, a simple concentrated drop that ripples out infinitely. So let's just get this picture in our minds, allow this to seep in as a natural principle. And now from here, I believe we can get into the actual conversation. So I'll go right over here and you can take it away.
Whatever I talk about or present, I never preach anything as 100% fact, right? I'm not here to preach anything or push anything down anyone's throat. I'm simply presenting what I found, what I've connected the dots with in conjunction with other people. Like I said, my premise of research is always based on two things. The first thing is something called syncretism. So syncretism is basically looking at various bodies of information, like I said, and then connecting the dots. So instead of saying what most people say, the truth is in my book, the truth is in my religion, the truth is in my science or my beliefs, this is the only place the truth is. A syncretist would say, well, I'm going to look at all the religions and all the cultures and all the beliefs, all of them in their wholeness, and then I'm going to see what similarities they have. My other premise of research is based on nature. Nature never ever lies. So whether you're religious or whether you're spiritual, whether you are a scientist, we can all agree that nature always tells us the truth. I've come to believe or know, inner knowing, that we live, again, like I said, on a plane. Now, this plane obviously is not just a dish like we've been told by many flat earthers with a bow above it. There's a lot more going to it. I believe it is a much, much larger plane, or disc, if you like. I think it is a disc. And the reason why I say it's a disc, going back to that picture that you showed with the ripples of water,
yes,
I think everything is created from that, from a ripple effect. We see this with cells. Cells do the same thing. They replicate. You know, one cell bubbles into another cell, bubbles into another cell. You see this concentric ring formation when cells form. You see it with trees.
Yes,
right?
the
Trees
rings of a
grow in
tree,
rings.
yes. Mm-hmm.
Yep. You see it with many vegetables. An onion, if you cut an onion, you'll see it's got rings. Most vegetables and fruits, you always see this circular pattern within them. So as above, so below, as within, so without. This organism that we live on, that we call Earth, is a replica of everything else in nature. It is nature. This is Mother Nature, as we all say. So the Earth is, again, also created with those ripples, just like we see. And I think that ripple begins at the center, the magnetic north. So the North Pole would be where the drop falls in that pond. That's the center of the universe, of our universe.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, different worlds and different dimensions, if you like, or different planes are created over cycles of time. So again, time is not linear, like we're told in mainstream circles. Time is circular, again, just like a clock. So a clock tells you how time operates. This is how cosmic time also operates. So we have things called ages or cycles of time.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we are in the Iron Age and we are slowly coming out of the Bronze Age. Hence we are now awakening. In the Iron Age we're asleep. Yeah, so everything is expanding from the inside out, from the center point. Many ancient cultures refer to this place in many different texts. It's always depicted by ancient cultures and texts as the Holy Mountain, Mount Zion, Mount Olympus, Mount Meru. So you've heard these names thrown around, and this is where this stems from. This mountain is that central point, that 0 point axis where everything began from, and everything is rippling outwards. So I think this plane of this Earth is not just in free space. We are inside something called electromagnetism, which are the lines that you were seeing on that last image that you had on.
Okay.
So around us right now, around our field of electromagnetism in this realm, we are cocooned. So above us, there is a big, what people are calling the dome, which is an electromagnetic field, I think made of plasma. And this is cocooning us all the way around. We're inside this. This is our little small sphere of influence, as a lot of the ancient cultures called it.
Mm-hmm.
And on the outside, okay, there is this plasma, electromagnetic field above the Earth. This outer bit is obviously the South Pole, and the center is obviously the North Pole. Okay, so there's that above, as above, so below. There's also a toroidal field. What? The whole thing's a toroidal field. It goes all the way around us.
So in essence, the toroidal field in itself is considered the quote unquote globe. So that's the half truth, half lie.
Brilliant. Excellent. Excellent. Yes. So technically, we could say we are in a ball.
In a
Right?
ball. Right.
We're
Not
inside
on
a
a
ball.
ball, but in a ball.
Not on a ball, but in a ball. Yeah. Yeah. So again, loads of half truths. So this is our sphere of influence. And within our electromagnetic field, we have our sun and moon that we see every day that revolve inside this toroidal field or
Inside
along
the
the
toroidal
toroidal
field.
field.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, I think that our Earth currently has got 4 different realms. So I think there are 4 realms at the moment. There's one at the center. There's a small one, what many people call Shambhala, or the Garden of Eden, Hyperborea, Avalon, all these different names given to this mysterious place. I think that place is at the North Pole, at the center. So that's the first realm. Brilliant. So that's the first realm at the center.
So the center, Eden, Meru, this is at the North Pole. This is where it all began. This is like the center of, literally the center of the universe, of this
Absolutely.
universe.
Yes, of this universe. This is definitely the center of the universe, of this universe. So right now, what I'm saying is, at the North Pole right now, there is another realm, there's another world right now, a physical world, called Eden or Avalon or Hyperborea or Shambhala. All these names that these ancient cultures gave to this place is there right now at the North Pole. Okay?
Okay.
And then beyond the North Pole, there is that rock that you can see depicted there. There is something called the Holy Mountain. I don't know what that is, but it's called Mount Meru, Mount Olympus, Mount Zion. This is where they say the gods live, or the angels, the Dasavatars, the Polarians.
So they are referring to them as gods or angels and so forth because they're considered higher beings or more pure of a being because of them being in the center where it all begins?
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. In fact, that's where we all begin. All of us began there. We're all Polarians, all of us. And we've journeyed out away from home, right? And we're here experiencing life in these different realms, in these different states of consciousness, but we are all from that center, every single one of us. That is where all souls are birthed from in this universe, right? That is where it all begins. That's pole position. The realm outside that mountain or that holy place is now what we call Eden, the Garden of Eden. Let's use that word. That is a realm where there are beings that actually live there as well, physical beings.
Okay.
And then the ring outside this Garden of Eden is where we are. This is our space.
Is this the correct photo that I have up showing the second ring?
Yes, but this is showing how everything was created. So I would probably go back to the map that I had with all the rings on it. Yeah, that one.
Okay, so this ring here that I'm circling around, this is Earth.
This is where we are, yeah.
This is where we are. So we're very close to the center.
Very close, absolutely, yeah. So that central bit, that central realm, have got their own electromagnetic torus field as well.
Okay.
Right? And this is what we call, what we see as the aurora borealis. That is an electromagnetic field that we're seeing. And that is a dome that is at the center, covering that realm at the center. So they're cocooned in their own dome as well.
Okay.
Right? So we don't have access to there right now. It's closed off, it's sealed for that aurora borealis, that electromagnetic field.
So it's sealed energetically.
Energetically,
So,
yes.
okay, so literally you may be able to see it and it looks etherical, but you try
Yep.
to walk through it, you can't.
You will not be able to walk through it, no.
Got it.
I don't think so. And then on the outside, on our south pole, on our rim, we have our dome encompassing us that I showed you earlier on.
Yes.
That is the aurora australis. That is our electromagnetic field cocooning us. So when we're looking up, there is an electromagnetic dome above us.
Okay.
And then that spirals out to the next ring. So there's another ring of land outside us.
So this ring that is fairly bigger.
Yeah, that is another dimension or another realm, if you like. And they have their own electromagnetic field above them, a bigger one.
Okay.
And then the last realm on the outside, the last ring, they've also obviously got their electromagnetic field. Almost like those Russian dolls.
Russian dolls. Yes, that's what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So ring within a ring, within a ring, within a ring, field within a field, within a field, within a field, etc., etc.
Got it.
Now, each of these realms have got their own sun and moon, their own luminaries. The 7 wandering planets that we call the 7 wandering planets are suns and moons of our universe.
So they're not planets. They're
not
suns
planets.
and moons.
They're suns and moons. They're luminaries. Just like if you took out a P900 camera and you looked up at them, all you see is a luminary. It's a light. That's all we're seeing. That's all we know. So I believe that they are suns and moons of the different worlds that are across the plane of our vast, vast Earth.
That actually makes so much more sense. And I feel like they use the luminaries now to convince us that this is what our world looks like by telling us that those are worlds or those are planets in itself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Spot on. Yes. So at the center in this central realm, this Eden realm, they have one sun and moon, which is what we know as Mercury, or you've heard of Nibiru.
Yes.
The black sun, planet X. This is all referring to this central sun. All earthers would say there's an inner sun inside the earth. Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So at the center of the earth, there is a sun, which we might call Mercury, and it's one. It's both a sun and a moon. And
okay, so it's a singularity in itself.
It's a singularity because they're right at the center, obviously. So at the center, they've got Mercury, the black sun, Buddha, sometimes called Buddha or Thoth. Where we are, we've got our sun and moon, Artemis and Apollo, as the Greeks call them, that circle around us, giving us night and day.
Mm-hmm.
Right? On the outside, they've got their sun and moon, which is Venus and Mars.
So Mars would be the sun and Venus would be the moon?
Yes.
For the outer ring?
For the outer ring.
Okay.
Yes. Mars is the sun, Venus is the moon. Venus is the feminine. And then on the last one, you'd have Saturn and Jupiter.
Saturn and Jupiter.
Jupiter being the feminine, the moon, and Saturn being the male, the sun.
Okay.
Okay. So obviously these worlds have got their own different beings. They've got their own different eco and solar systems, they're different dimensions, essentially. This is where we get words like extraterrestrials from, right? So extraterrestrial, if you break that word down, extra means more. Terrestrial comes from the root word terrain, land. So these are extra terrains. And in extra terrain, they are extraterrestrials. Yeah, so the different rings, different solar systems within them, and different beings that live within them. So like I said, I believe that at the moment we are in 4s. We're in a cycle of 4 at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
4 rings, and there are also 4 root races, which is something else I talk about. So again, as within, so without. So I believe that this race of beings that in this electromagnetic field, we are Atlanteans. If you've heard the term, the Atlantean people, the Atlantean race, we are the Atlanteans. At the North Pole right now is the youngest race, which are the Aryans. They're the race that was seeded very recently. I think about 6,000 years ago.
So, okay, just to pause for a second there. So if we understand the genesis of any ring that is created, it's because this can play, when you look at the ring, you're automatically assuming that the last ring is the last ring. But in the case when the center started, the last ring that we see here was literally the first ring at one point and has
Absolutely. That's the
expanded
first
from there.
ripple. Yeah, that's
So the first
ripple.
ripple is not Earth, but the first,
No.
so the smaller the ripple, the younger the
Yes.
planet or plane.
Yes.
Got
Yes.
it. Okay.
Absolutely. I think at the moment we've got four. We've got the Aryans at the center, which are the newest. There's us, the Atlanteans. On the outside, I would call them the Lemurians, or what sometimes are called the reptilians sometimes.
Okay.
And then right on the outside, we've got, maybe we might call them the Anunnaki. Let's call them that.
So that's why they're considered quote unquote giants.
Absolutely. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So, the different distinctive looks that we have in this realm are kind of offshoots from interactions that we've had with these extraterrestrial other races in the past.
Okay.
So my it's not a theory, it's more a hypothesis. My hypothesis on this is that I think the four main distinctive looks in this planet that we're in now are a mirror of the four root races in our universe. Now,
so okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, ask your question.
No, so so let's go to the first race. And is this, and I feel like this is a part of the debate that people are getting misconstrued with the Back to Africa movement and so forth. It's just like Black people were the first people, which in a sense is true, but again, there's part lie. So the outer ring, Anunnaki, would literally be Black race, would literally mean that it was the first ring. So the first race was Black, basically Anunnaki, the most ancient. So that argument is a moot point within this earthly realm because they don't even realize what they're feeling. It's a misunderstanding based on the lies. Here.
That's it. So we'll show that one. So that first one where it says pole position, that would have been the original. That's the mountain. That's Mount Meru, Mount Olympus, Mount Zion. That is always there. That's a constant. That never moves.
Okay.
That is where our Polarian selves are seeded from. That is where everything is seeded from and folds out from. Okay. So that first ripple, those would have been the Hyperboreans.
Or AKA Anunnaki. I'm using Anunnaki because most people are familiar with that term, but Hyperboreans.
So yeah, the Anunnaki would have been the first race to have been seeded. And then over time, right, they go round over time, let's say over 24,000 years, like the 24-hour clock. I'm just giving that as an example. I'm not saying that's the exact number. It's just to give you a visual. So let's say over 24,000 years, they go right round and then they hit a reset point.
Okay.
And at that reset point, that pole position pushes out that realm from the center and creates a new one.
A new one, which is
what we now call the Lemurians. So this is what we call a pole shift. This is when a pole shift happens.
So literally from the pole, literally shifting. Like it's so literal now that I'm talking to you. Like it's not even overly complicated. Okay.
It's so simple. Often Occam's razor, the simplest explanation is probably closest to the truth. So yeah, where pole shift happens and that realm that's at the center, which is the Garden of Eden at that time. So there are many Gardens of Eden. There isn't just one. Every realm has been a Garden of Eden at some stage. Okay. So the Anunnaki were pushed out from the garden, from the center.
So does that go to the infamous Bible story of being kicked out and fallen angels and so forth?
Absolutely, yes. That story is the story of all the races in the universe, playing out over many times.
Okay, so eventually you get kicked out of the garden just by nature because of the pole shift.
By nature, natural cycle, yeah. You must go out and, because when you're close to the center, you're close to oneness. So you're always going to be enlightened, if you like. And the more
Yes.
you go away from the center, well, the further you are from oneness, obviously. So you become more and more independent on your own, right? And this is why they say you're pushed away from the center. They were, you know, they're pushed away from God, etc., etc. You can see the
Yes.
allegory, all that. So yeah, so the Lemurians were the next ones, what we might call the reptilians. You hear a lot of conspiracy theories talking about the reptilians.
What race
Right?
would that be? More Asian,
So I think this is
Oriental?
where, yes, I think this is where the Oriental look, if you like, or culture comes from. Hence, you find in the Oriental cultures, the dragon motif is so big. The dragon, the reptile,
Yes.
right? That's where that comes from. So yeah, that would be the next race that was birthed out, the second race. Okay, and if you look on Earth, the deepest cultures, the first one is the African cultures are the oldest, are the most
Yes.
deep-rooted. The second are the Asians.
So it's
The
reflected
Oriental.
on Earth. Literally, the Earth
On Earth. Yeah.
is the library of the universe, literally.
As within, so without. Everything is a microcosm of the macrocosm. Everything. Everything. So the next, that goes round 24,000 years, and another ripple is pushed out. Another pole shift happens. A new epoch. This is when where we are now, we're at the center. When we were the height of Atlantis.
So when they say the fall of Lemuria, they're talking again about that fall being pushed with the pole shift and Atlantis making an exodus into Atlantis, which helped with the consciousness fall. So there's an exodus of some sort when portals are open. There's an in and out going on during these times. Okay.
Brilliant. Oh, beautiful. Yes, exactly that. So yeah, you'll read this in all these scriptures will start to come together, like you're saying. I actually didn't know that particular one, so thank you for that one. So yeah, so we were Atlantis. We were the Garden of Eden. We were at the center. We had our time there, 24,000 years. Again, I'm just giving that number out. And when our time had come, our reset, we were pushed out. I think this happened about 6,000 years ago. Into where we are now.
Okay.
Okay. And the new realm. So the beings that would be native to this realm, or the look, rather, not beings, the physical look that's native to this realm would be the Indo-Asians.
Which the Indian for Atlantean.
Atlantean,
or
yeah.
The red man.
Red man, yes.
There we go.
Brilliant.
Okay.
So the red man is the native distinctive look for Atlantis, is the red man. We're the red people.
So that Native American energy, that even Asian, Indian, Tibetan whole situation.
Absolutely. And if you look deep into it, the red Indians or the native Indians were actually black. Okay, so what we call African Americans are actually not from Africa. They're native to that place. And they were the original red Indians. And then about 6,000 years ago, the newest race was seeded at the center, which is now the Aryan people, the Aryan race.
Which would be white.
Which would be what we know as the white race, Caucasian, in this realm.
So right now, through the fall of Atlantis, I guess I should say, was birthed the Aryan.
Yes.
And is that...
So if we go back one step before the Aryans entered the race, the cosmic race, we Atlanteans would have done the same thing to the Lemurians. We would have colonized them. We would have been what we now see as the oppressors. So that's a never-ending cycle. So what is happening to us now, we also did, if you say we in quotation marks, did that to previous races.
The Atlanteans did that to the Lemurians.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
So now the Aryans are doing it to the Atlanteans.
Exactly.
Okay.
There are no good guys or bad guys. It's just the natural order or the natural cycle
of consciousness.
That way. Yeah.
So, okay. So it's interesting that you say the closest to the center you are, the more enlightened you are, but it seems the younger you are in race, the more in the dark you are. So Is it when that center creates the newest outer ring that there's a fall in enlightenment all the way into the dark ages?
Absolutely, absolutely. So right now, the Aryans at the center, they would be enlightened beings,
The
100%.
Aryan. Okay.
Yeah, they would be enlightened beings because they're at the center. They're currently in the Garden of Eden. However, there are shifts. I'll get into the clock later on. Every few thousand years, these portals open, these fields open, and it allows beings to go from one realm to another, which we're now approaching.
Okay.
Now, during the last opening, portal opening, there were some Aryans who left the Garden of Eden to come over here because they wanted to rule. They wanted to be away from God. They came here with all the knowledge and all the power, and they came to rule over because they were like gods. They had come from the center. So naturally, they'd have come with more knowledge. Is that making sense? When we fell?
Yes, no, that makes perfect sense. So during that pole shift in the openings, the alignments, there were certain Aryans that had their own agenda that was just like, hey, we're going to go over to Atlantis and we're going to like set up shop and just govern over and be their gods.
Yes, and look after them during this Iron Age.
Got it.
That's how they would justify it. Oh, it's like now, when these portals open now, a similar thing is going to happen. There will be some Aryans who are currently on the negative side who want to come in here and rule us. We're shifting from one age into another. Like I said earlier on, we're shifting out of that Iron Age into the Bronze Age.
Yes.
So we're shifting cosmically, but we're also shifting zodiacally as well. Zodiac. We're shifting out of the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius.
Okay,
so that will happen again.
So let's talk about 2020 just a bit, because I know you're going to go deeper into that, but I feel like we can talk about it now just a little bit, where we're coming to another pole shift. So basically, you're saying another ring is now being created around the time of 2020, and so not another ring just yet, just an alignment of portals.
Yes.
To travel through the fields. That's what's happening in 2020. Okay.
Absolutely. So if you go to the big board with all the rings and all the complete one. Yep. So right now we are at 20, where it says 2020.
I'm looking for it.
At 3 o'clock. There.
Okay. This right here.
That is where we are along that cosmic wheel of time.
Okay.
So a reset will happen when we get to the 12 o'clock, all the way around. So reset always happens at 12 o'clock.
Reset always happens at 12. So 2020 is a 12 o'clock event.
So the 2020 is at 3 o'clock.
Oh, 3 o'clock. Okay. So this is not a complete reset as what we're talking about with the new creation of new races, new rings, new planets. Not. This is a 3 o'clock, which is basically an alignment. It's an alignment. Okay.
Yeah, it's an alignment. So that's where we are now. So when that alignment happens, these portals will open up, and that allows for a rebalancing of energy within the universe. So right now, if you look, we're in the age of Pisces, crossing over into the age of Aquarius.
Yes.
Pisces is a male energy, very dominant, and Aquarius is a feminine energy.
Yes.
Coming together, the waters coming together. At the center, they're coming out of Aquarius, going into Capricorn.
Okay. So I see this. The smaller version of that clock is Aquarius and Capricorn, where Pisces, Aquarius. Okay.
Cosmic clock.
So they're passing through they're over their age of Aquarius while we're just getting into ours. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, they've done the whole Bronze Age, age of Aquarius. There's nothing new under the sun. What we're going through, they went through.
Got it. Okay. So we're tapping into Capricorn, which is a different kind of mother.
Which is a different kind of mother, different type of energy, which is this energy now of allowing things to be. So it's a whole different energy.
Wow.
That's what you're tapping into now. Because now you've moved out of Aquarius. So you went from Pisces, you went from Pisces, which is the age of belief and just going with the flow. And then we went into the age of Aquarius, which was that angry mother. We're now in the age of Capricorn, which is now which is a totally different energy.
So if you can go even further into, so there's archetypes for all of the zodiac.
All of the zodiacs, yes.
Literal
So,
cosmic energies that are archetypes that act their energies
oh yeah.
out through beings.
Oh yes, yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'll map one out for you in this realm. So right now we're in the age of Pisces, the two fish, the fisher of men, Christianity, religion, Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah, you see it with those bumper stickers and everything. We're definitely in the age of Pisces, right?
Yes.
2,000 years ago, before Jesus came, the archetype of Jesus and Christianity and religion and all that, we have the story in the Bible of Abraham. Remember?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And at the beginning of that Abrahamic age, Abraham was told by God to do what? To sacrifice a what?
So
A
the
lamb.
ram. Yes. Yes.
The
The
ram.
lamb. Mm-hmm. The
So that
ram.
tells us
Aries ram. Mm-hmm.
Aries ram. That tells us we were in the age of Aries at that time. That's what that story
Uh-huh.
is telling us in the Bible.
So that energy or that archetype pre-Jesus
Yep. Aryan.
is a dude, and
Yes.
he's a ram.
He's the
And
ram.
he's that
Absolutely.
archetype.
Conquering.
Okay.
Conquering. Conquer. The ram goes
Conquer
in head
energy.
first.
Okay.
Before that, you've got the story of what? 6,000 years ago. What began 6,000 years ago? The Bible. The Bible.
Yes. Ah, the Bible, Taurus.
Right? The bull.
Mm-hmm.
Horus.
Mm-hmm.
And then before
And
that, you could go to Gemini, the two
yes.
twins. The two twins,
Yes.
which is the story of Cain and Abel.
Oh, wow. So it's all there in the books. You just got to learn how to
All
read
there
it.
in the book. Again, listen to Santos Bonacci, and all this will come together. Astrotheology.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So it all comes together. Gemini was the story of Cain and Abel. They're telling us we're in the age of Gemini at that particular time in the Bible. Just after Cain and Abel are the first two real
Children.
character children. Yeah.
Yes.
After we're heading into now.
Yes.
Right? Bronze and silver, Aquarius, Capricorn, Sagittarius in this realm. We're now springing towards 1800 hours at the bottom there,
Mm-hmm.
which is now sunrise. When that happens, when this pole shift happens there, where you've got the arrow, we're
Yes.
now well and truly into the sunrise. We're now well and truly waking up cosmically.
Which is kind
everywhere.
of like the golden dawn.
The golden dawn era begins there.
So it begins at Scorpio, Libra, Virgo age. That's
Yes.
the quarter of the dawning, the age
Yes.
of the dawn.
Yes, yes.
Mm.
And then during that quarter, it's like sunrise from 6 a.m. So yeah, from 6 a.m. up till about 9,
Yes, from 6 to
The
9.
last
Quarter here, which is
going to midday, this is the golden age of the whole universe. Everyone in the universe there is enlightened.
so Leo, Cancer, Gemini area. Okay. Okay.
That is when
Much more
everything
clearer.
is one, is at peace. Everything, there are no toroidal fields, there's no separation. We're all one big family in this universe.
Wow. So
And
there
then a
is an
reset happens.
experiencing of utopia of some sort in this
Absolutely,
cosmic
yes.
game. Okay.
Yes, yes. So these torus fields, again, they open and close. These are the portals spoken of in the book of Enoch, the
Yes.
windows that open and close. So for instance, where you're seeing the yellow stars,
Mm-hmm.
if two realms have yellow stars together, that means there's no toroidal field there.
Oh, wow. So all the timelines or dimensions are collapsed within each other. So all of the
Absolutely.
beings are experiencing each other across the board.
Yes.
From
So right
here
now-
to here. Mhm.
So right now, where we are, this 2020 mark,
Yes,
if
back
you look
here.
on the outer realms,
Yes.
the last two realms,
Yes.
their toroidal field is going to collapse. They're going to become one. Oh, they're still one, sorry.
They are one.
They are
The-
one. There's no toroidal field right now in that they're all together.
So the basically the Anunnaki and the Lemurian are basically were at one point experiencing each other.
Yep, up until this reset that's happened now,
Mm-hmm.
where the Lemurians have been closed off now.
Yes. Closed
They're
off.
now closed off.
Meanwhile,
maybe
the
that's
Anunnaki is still in a golden age.
of the last epoch,
Mm-hmm.
because they're behind.
Okay.
They haven't caught up yet.
Is that also the conception of them living long for thousands of years?
Yes.
Because
yes,
they're on
yes,
that
yes.
outer ring and they're experiencing time much slower?
Much slower.
Okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So they haven't reset yet. So we've now reset. So technically, the only two realms right now that are in the Aryan epoch are us and the Aryans at the center.
Okay.
The other two realms technically are still in the old Atlantean epoch energy.
Okay. Yes. I see. Okay.
Right. And before I forget, I just want to touch back on Aryan, Lemurian, Atlantean, and Anunnaki. That can also be correlated with the four elements. The Aryans are the air people. Aryans, air people.
Yes.
Atlanteans are the...
Ooh, the earth people.
No, Atlantis
like the earth
was
element?
No, Atlantis were the water people. Atlantis, water.
Oh, yes. See, I'm thinking about the realm name, since Earth and Atlantis are like named as the same planet.
No.
That's what I was thinking. Okay.
So the Aryans would be the air people. Atlanteans are the water people.
Water people. Okay.
Lemurians are the fire people.
Dragon energy.
Dragon. And of course, the outer people would be the earth people. Now you can actually see this with the four distinctive looks in this realm. Earth people, black people, running, dancing, earthy things. The black genealogy is very good at earthy things.
Yes.
Right? Fire people, you see it with Asians, Oriental people. Right?
Yes.
Gunpowder was created where? In China. Right? Bombs, gunpowder, all of that originated in China. Those are the fire people. Dragons. Atlantis. Most people don't know this, but the best boat builders, the British, learned how to build boats from the Indians.
Okay.
Right? The British Empire that ruled over the world through sailing learned everything from the Indians.
Yeah.
This is mainstream science will tell you this. The Indians are amazing boat people. Same with the Native Americans who were actually black. They're called the Moors.
Yes.
What is a Moor? A river person, because you moor the boat. You're mooring the boat.
Wow.
The boat people.
Oh, man. Because they'll have you thinking Native American or Indian is more earth. They'll have you calling black people children of the sun. White Caucasian is fire. Like, it's all mixed up. Okay.
It's all mixed up. No. If you look at the Moors, like I'm saying, the original native people to this land, these red people, they're called Moors. Moors as in they were mooring ships.
Yes.
Right? So they are the water people. Moment. So remember I said at the center, it's androgynous, one sun and one moon?
Yes.
That ripples out to everything. So at the center, these people in Eden don't have a definitive sex, if you like. They don't see sex the same way we see it.
Oh, so is that the whole transgender uprising?
The whole transgender, absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
That's why it's seeping
preparing
in.
Us. They're preparing us for that. So when these beings come over here, they're going to be transgender. They're going to be all these things. So they're getting us used to that. So when it comes, it's not too much of a shock for us. They're priming us.
Okay.
Right?
Androgynous or hermaphrodite. Masculine and feminine, sun and moon together.
Beautiful. Yes. And this is the picture that we're given of Baphomet.
Okay.
If you study the Baphomet, this is what they're trying to tell you. They're basically tell you about this androgynous nature that is at the center, albeit in a twisted, perverted way. But that is the truth behind that. Mother Earth is already changing her frequency, so it is up to us to catch up with her, and not the other way around. We don't need to change her frequency. We need to change and match her frequency.
Okay.
So these things that they're putting in place, 5G, chemtrails, are to suppress us from rising the frequency of the Earth. The reason why we've been lied to about where we are is to imprison us, what we're saying earlier on. So most people believe that in the universe, we are the only thing in the universe right now. There's nothing else in existence.
Yeah.
And we have very limited resources. We have limited resources, right? This planet. So we need to pay lots of taxes to make sure we're looking after the planet. We need to listen to the government to look after this little place that we have. Listen to those who know who are looking after us, essentially, because there's nothing else. When this goes, it's all gone. So we're put into this psychological state of scarcity, of fear, of limited. We're limited to this.
So save the earth, quote unquote, that agenda is not necessarily what we think it is?
No, absolutely not. It's to imprison us even more. It's to get us into even more of a state of fear. Right? So what you see is they will push this save planet Earth, and then there'll be an asterisk behind that saying, so what we need to do is we need more control. We need to control more about of how we're saving planet Earth.